You got
I
the
got
music
some
playing in the background and everything.
I'm letting it play. I'm letting it
3,
play for them.
2, 1, and there you go. We are live. They ain't gonna be able to hear the introduction with your music playing in the background. For some reason, Casey thinks that it's a good idea to have whatever, some old school. What you got playing in the background?
That's Order My Steps, man. That's Order My Steps by GMWA Women of Worship. You feel me? Order My Steps in the world. Hello. Sunday morning gospel. Yes, Lord.
Oh, that's why he has the music playing in the background, because we are on Sunday as we normally come on, but we are on a Sunday a.m. Well, actually, it's only a.m. where I'm at. It's p.m. where everyone else is at. KC, well, you know, that's Atlanta a.m. The noon is actually, it's the a.m. in Atlanta until about 3 p.m. That's when people wake up. But it's 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. But anyway, let's get back to our introduction. So you said that was who that you was playing the music?
GMWA Women of Worship.
Women of Worship. There you go.
Women of Worship. Yeah, man. Order My Steps in the world. Hello.
Well, welcome to
good. Hey, let me do something different. We don't do this too much, but it's Sunday morning.
Okay.
I'm gonna do this. Father, thank you for bringing us here this morning. Thank you for waking us up. Thank you for allowing us to have a guest this morning. Thank you for opening our hearts, our ears, our minds, and our spirits to what's going to come into it today. Thank you for loving on us, nurturing us, feeding us, keeping roofs over our head and clothes on our backs. Thank you for giving me and Parrish the strength to continue moving forward, even, Father, when we didn't even know that this was going to be here for us. But you kept your hands on us and you kept us moving and praying. In Jesus' name we pray. God bless and amen. Hello.
Amen. I guess, absolutely. So we going to church today.
Early morning.
Early morning. Since it's early morning and it's church time, and normally KC would probably be at church, he just brought church to the show today.
I just left church.
Oh, he just left church.
Yes,
man,
Lord.
that dude did a lot in this early segment. Got moves and went to church. In any case, welcome to another live episode of No Cap. That is the knowledge and wisdom of KC and Parrish. I am Coach P. That is KC. What's going on with my partner, man?
Oh, man, listen. I'm here. I woke up this morning and we got special guests today. So this is
exclusive. We have an exclusive special guest, a really good friend of mine, and just a really interesting, dope person that we bringing on, and it'll be a great conversation because you know she's well versed in many ways. So you want to go through our, I got the fitness tip of the day. I'll make it something quick. You got your trivia, or you want to wait till we bring the guests on to go through your trivia?
You know what, man? Today I'm kind of letting you navigate the ship. I'm gonna follow along and see where we go with it.
Okay. KC is ready to have a deep conversation. Obviously, that's why he went to church on us. He came home playing. He's looking forward to the deep conversation. But as I said, you know, our conversations can be deep, but we also, obviously, you know, our conversations can be joyful and kind of playful at times too. So you'll get a little bit of everything. Fitness tip of the day. Training is a lifestyle. So, you know, one of my biggest things when I am coaching, mentoring, doing what I do for a living is to teach people the difference between training and working out. And in doing so, my main goal is always, whatever goal they come to me with, the goal is always to teach them that fitness is a lifestyle. And the way to really, really grow and get the most out of your time training is to make it a lifestyle, so you don't stay on an up and down roller coaster. And when you make it a lifestyle, it's no longer a chore. It's a way of life. So that is the fitness tip of the day. No wild trivias from KC. So I guess with no further ado, what, you just thought of something? I see you thinking.
I don't think so. I was pondering. I had one, but I think I forgot it for the moment. Don't worry, we'll come back to it.
Okay, so your move and everything went good though, right? The move, you did all that.
The play went good.
The play, well, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, we ain't gonna say too much. Everything went how it was supposed to go, so that you are here on time-ish.
That's what God will do for you. You feel me? That's God working. But anyway.
Absolutely. Okay, so with no further ado, we are going to bring on our very special guest. She probably go yell at me for butchering what I'm about to butcher, but don't worry about it. It's gonna be okay. She be beating me up. What's going on,
Are we
Dr.
already telling
Sanaa?
lies? We just got
Oh, y'all.
Good morning.
hi.
Hey,
Good morning.
no, them is all true. She be beating me up. Y'all don't. I ain't gonna tell nobody else. Nah. So our special guest today that we are bringing on is a good friend of mine. Also, someone that I train well often. I think when we were the most consistent though, it was like over a year straight. And during that time, she beat me up a lot. However, she's one of my favorite. I have to say one of my favorite people to work with, because if I don't say one of my favorite people, everyone thinks they're my favorite, and then they get mad if I say. So I always have to say one of my favorite, but definitely one of my favorite people just in general, and one of my favorite people to work with. That is Dr. Sanaa. Welcome. How are you doing?
I get a round
I'm
of
good.
applause.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So,
Thank you. I appreciate it. And Parrish is
It's all good.
live.
what you say?
I think there's a delay.
Oh, it
think
is.
so.
It is. Well, if it is a delay, that's okay, because Sanaa is tuning in live from, or joining us live from Kuwait. She is all the way across sea. So this is why this is also very special, because this is our first, in case he was really excited about having someone join us from, Kuwait. He thought that Sanaa, he thought that he was like, Kuwait, he thought that you would be different than when he saw you, when he saw your appearance. I was like, nah, she's definitely deep and well versed, but she's also just like somebody from our neighborhood, which is why I say it's a great conversation, because she's ready to have that conversation out of the way. He thought that maybe it would be like very traditional, you know what I mean? Like with the rap and everything, but it is. So I'm about to mess this up, but I'm gonna do my best. Are you ready?
Okay.
She
Mm-hmm.
go she gonna talk about me bad afterwards.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, to the best of my ability, I have been working on getting better with learning languages, and so one of the languages I am learning is Sanaa's native language, and I learned that being from the United States is very difficult to pronunciate. But I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna butcher it, but it's all good. So I want to welcome you, and I want to welcome you in the correct way. So, assalamu alaikum.
Welcome, Sam.
I
You
feel
got
like
it.
I'm, yeah, nah, but that's not the end. But I feel like you waiting for me to mess up already.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you
I'm
are.
chilling.
I can feel the judgment jumping off of your screen already.
You told me I gotta be on my best behavior on this podcast, so I
No,
am.
no, your realest behavior. Oh, you got on your I like your hoodie. That's actually Sanaa's company right there. She is the owner and founder of True Yoga. Sanaa is, I call her the guru. She is definitely she does. Oh, you have a trip coming. I mean, not a trip. Your retreat. You have a retreat coming up. She has her. Well, talk about your retreats real quick, because those are big. And are those open to anybody, or is it just you have to be a member? How does that work?
No, it's open to anybody, but specifically, my retreats are for people of color. And
Mm.
what I created is a safe space for us to be together in community and heal. And so we're not we do yoga in the morning, but most of the focus of my retreats is like how as a community we can come together and feel safe and heal. So we talk about topics that kind of just been tucked away in the darkness that, things, emotions, circumstances, wounds, traumas that we don't want to talk about. And finally just like revealing the veil and just talk. It's like group therapy in a way. And you just get to do it in a community that feels relatable, safe, but also in a place that is in nature, and you get to eat good food and you just get to travel places where a lot of people of color are afraid to go alone as well. And so just to get them to see a world outside of the United States where you feel loved, cherished, and embraced for who you are, and you're not judged or criticized or stereotyped. People just embrace you. And that to me is important because we are fed a lot of lies of like, anything outside of the United States is dangerous or it's scary or people are going to be more racist or prejudiced, when it's the opposite. So just giving them just a glimpse of life outside of, where they grew up and what they've seen. And most important, like I said, feel safe and loved and embraced.
So name an example of some of those places that are one or two of the places that we're talking about, so people get an idea.
Yeah, so Peru is coming up in February, and then we have Costa Rica in May, Indonesia in May, and then occasionally every other year, I'll do Morocco, I'll do South Africa. So I'm going to add a few more in the upcoming years, but yeah, those are the places.
And she will, and so I've been trying to get Sanaa to do one in the States, but now I understand. She is against it, and now I understand even more why you with the description you just gave of getting outside of the States is really the point. What I was attempting to sell to Sanaa is that her and I are the experience for people, and we could bring the experience to the people who are right here. So while they may not get the experience of going out the country, they get the experience of what we can offer collectively. So maybe one day, just one day, we'll be able to get her. Y'all DM her and tell her to do one in the States. it probably maybe. So here's the part I was stalling. I wanted to do the full greeting, but I was stalling. So Kaifa Halaki Akti. I know I messed it up. See?
Good job. But yeah, alhamdulillah, kif halik, which means he asked me, how are you, my sister? And I just responded, and said, I'm good, and you?
Yes. Can you say something in whatever you want to say? I don't know. In your native language. I just wanted people to hear you speak.
And say what? Okay. مرحبا أهلا وسهلا بكم في the podcast with Parish and KC. اليوم راح نتكلم عن أشياء وايد إن شاء الله تعجبكم. Thank you for coming.
So basically what she just said is y'all tuned in to the greatest coach in the world. His name is Coach P. And my partner, the greatest a coach too in his own right. What, man? My boy KC, he's sitting there silent right now because he's waiting for these conversations to start. And he's in deep thought. And so she said, welcome to the greatest show on earth, because she made it even greater by being here. So I just had to translate. So I do want to learn, right? I do want to learn. So I have a really strict teacher. I'll say that. We'll get into these topics. Anything you want to talk about before we get into the topics, Casey or Sanaa?
Nope. Let's do it.
Nothing you want to talk about, Sanaa? Nothing?
I'm just here for the vibes.
Nothing you want to share that you would share?
Oh, okay. You want to put me on the spot? No, so before we actually got on, you told me to say it live, but it's the truth. Me and my sister actually have been training with Parish for a couple of years. I've actually trained with you for 2 years straight consistently. And right. We are probably the hardest clients he's ever dealt with, because we do have attitude. We do have attitudes, and he deals with us. Yes, we do have attitudes. It's okay. Anyway.
Is that recorded? Is that taped? Can we run this back?
Me and my sister do not like training. Let's just go on the record. We do not like training. Yes, we
Working
want to
out.
look cute, working out, whatever it is, we don't like it. And so he has
Love training.
taken the challenge, was starting with me. Okay. And he thought I was the worst until my sister came along and started training her. So we complain a lot because Paris tries to do the most, absolute most, all the time. And so I told her, like, hey, I'm getting on a podcast with Parrish today. She was like, oh, tell Parrish I said hi and tell him that he actually changed my life. That's exact words she said. He said he definitely made training a lifestyle. She's like, I used to hate it. I used to hate going to the gym. I've lost a lot of weight. I look good. And he made it a lifestyle where now I have to train every single day. So you've changed my life and my sister's life for sure, because I don't want to say for me that I like training. I still hate it, but I do it anyways.
Yes, she loves it. She loves it. She loves it. She
But
loves
I
it.
do it. I love the results. The actual going to the
She
gym
love it.
is not fun. But I am a
She
gym rat now. I am there all the time. I do go 5 to 7 times a week, depending on my mood, but it is part of my routine. So, yes, Parrish, thank you for making training a lifestyle. And no, I'm not going to stop complaining every time you train me.
Well,
Yes.
thank you for sharing and giving that feedback. I definitely. Oh, you know something else that I wanted to, and I almost forgot this. That I wanted to talk about. Um, you know, a lot of people go into fasting, and some
Mm,
people just do it because it seems like a good idea. Outside of the people who, like yourself, do it because it's a part of your culture, your religion, and you grew up doing it. You have a clear understanding of what it is. But some people just are like sometimes like, oh, I'm gonna fast because they have an idea of it. And I wanted to, give you an opportunity to kind of share and educate people on fasting and what it is as a lifestyle, since we're talking about lifestyle. Um, yeah.
So I think the misconception that people have, like, yes, fasting has a physical effect on you. You're going to possibly lose weight depending on the person. But the root of fasting is spiritual. This is the part that everybody kind of like pushes away. And so no matter what religion you come from, there is a level of fasting that you have to do. And so it's a spiritual cleansing before it's a physical cleansing. And so
Mm,
it's a mental cleansing, it is an emotional cleansing. And so you have to come from the angle of the intention of like, I'm trying to cleanse and detox. And the result is that the body follows, right? But now what people are calling intermittent fasting, which for us is Ramadan, when they explained it to me, I was like, oh, it's just Ramadan, right? But I think fasting has a deeper meaning to it, and that you have to understand fully before you approach it. And you have to see if it actually suits you as well. There are certain precautions you should take while fasting. You should know your
mm-hmm,
body, what you can
mm-hmm,
take, so what times of the day. And you also have to prepare for it. Even with fasting for us, like Ramadan, mentally we know, okay, the month is coming, a week before or a day before we start to like cut off on like eating so much. We make sure we hydrate a lot when we break our fast. There's certain foods that we eat when we break our fast that sit in our stomach longer for the days to come. Like lentil soup is like a common staple dish to break your fast with because it's heavy and it sits in your stomach for long periods of time. Making sure that you get the right nutrition as well when you break your fast. So it's not just, oh, I'm just going to cut off food and drinks and X, Y, and Z, but it's like you have to plan and prepare for it, for the fast itself and the breaking the fast. You can't break your fast with like stuff that is going to make you thirsty the next day, like bread and dairy, all those things like we know doesn't help us. So it's just for me, fasting has always been a spiritual journey, and it's very interesting that right now it's taken more of just like a physical part of it. Like,
mm.
yes, that's it, but don't forget the other things like that come along with fasting. So that's just my take on it. I feel like you have to have the right intention to get the right results.
With everything, and actually that's a good fitness tip of the day too. Having the right intentions to get the right results, because a lot of people jump into fasting, and I sometimes when they come back from just doing it, they end up like getting sick or hurting themselves. Their digestive system is messed up. not having the right intentions and not preparing themselves to really get into fasting and doing their, just educating themselves on the reason behind stuff gives you a better chance at being successful at doing whatever it is. Um, even though you beat me up one time with fasting.
You can hang. You can hang. Can you tell them about that?
Well,
Or I can tell them because you're gonna lie.
I
So let
was
me
telling
tell
the
you
truth.
how your friend was like, okay, training me and my sister. We're like, hey, Parish, it's Ramadan. We're fasting, meaning we don't have food and we don't drink water, right? So take it easy. Like we're committed to being here, but let it be known we're fasting. Oh, y'all used to it. Y'all can do it, this and that. I said, okay, if you think it's so easy, then I need you to fast tomorrow. And let's see how it feels when you fast without water and food. And what happened? You cheated.
Well, I didn't know. First of all, I didn't cheat. I didn't cheat. And I didn't have a day to prepare. It was that day because we trained at it was like 6 a.m. my time. I woke up. He's like, no, do it today. You're going to do it today. And I did it. And it was very difficult. But I told you the thing that would be difficult for me was drinking water because I drink so much water and not being able to drink water. So what I did, and this is why I said I cheated, I chewed gum so that my mouth wouldn't be dry. But I coach people first and foremost. I can't be all in front of people's face. But my mouth was so dry, I chewed gum, and she said I cheated. But I fasted the
So
whole day.
lesson learned to not have a sprinting while we're fasting.
I will never have a person sprint when they are fasting.
Thank you.
So absolutely. All right, let's get into these topics. Great conversation, by the way. Let's go with what's the first one? Learning. Oh, well, here we go. Making commitments to ourselves. So the first one is learning how to make real commitments to yourself, overcoming hurdles of fear and self-sabotage. Um, this is something that is real in like almost everyone that breathes air. Self-sabotage, fear, and making real commitments to themselves to see things through, having an intention, and really focusing on how to get to your goals and real results. Most people, a goal may start off as something that they really want to achieve, but somewhere along the line, it doesn't go the way they want it to go because of their initial intentions or their bad practices and their commitment to self. So, KC, since you've been sitting there so quietly this whole time, I'm gonna give you the opportunity. Usually, I give the guest the opportunity to speak first.
Let her speak.
Okay, he vibing and listening. He there though, y'all. So, Sanaa, give us your thoughts on that because I know, it's something that you coach, through True Yoga, but also through the through your what you call it? I'm drawing
Brand?
Huh? No, through your
Personal brand?
retreats. The retreats. The retreats. I know things of this nature, conversations and things of this nature come up. So
Yeah. I mean, I want to start with fear. I think a lot of times people think that we are supposed to do things without fear being involved. If you're going to do something that is new, uncomfortable, unfamiliar, there's going to be a level of fear to it. You're going to be scared. And the goal is not to diminish fear because in order for courage to exist, you need to have fear. So you have to do the thing anyways with the presence of fear. And that's the part is like people like, I want to wait until I'm not scared to do X, Y, and Z. No, do it while you're scared. Take that step while you're scared. Let fear be present and do it anyways. Because that's what makes you courageous and brave is that with the existence of fear, I'm going to do it anyways. If you weren't afraid, then it's pointless. And the things that scare us most are the things that we should do. That's what I believe. I mean, there's always going to be a level of fear of risk when you do something that is big, that is transformative, that is going to change your life. There's going to be a level of fear there. And so I just say move with the fear anyways. Just happen, let it happen. And as far as like self-sabotage, we all do it. Actually, I've been sitting with this in the last couple of weeks. We all on some level do that. I think we just have to bring awareness and label the things that we're doing that cause us to self-sabotage. A lot of times we are doing things that we're not aware that we're doing that are sabotaging whether we want to step forward into our, biggest opportunity or transformation, whatever it is. We're unaware of our coping mechanisms, our level of avoidance, the things that we do that stop us from being our best selves. And so I think it's the subtle things. There's things that we know that we are self-sabotage and we're like aware and we're like, oh, we just brush it to the side. But there's deeper levels of things that are subtle that we don't even know we're doing that are sabotaging our opportunities of growth. And that
The
can be in any,
subconscious.
yeah, and until you sit down and label it. Like, why do I feel the need to, you know, get into certain relationships? Why do I feel the need to stay in a toxic situation or have these type of friends or this type of job? Or why am I not working out? Why am I not taking care of my mental health? Like, we need to get to the root of the subtle things that are stopping us from taking that step. And I think that's what needs like really, really deep reflection
Mm,
and real honesty. We're afraid to admit to
mm,
ourselves the things that are like actually harming us. And I'll be really
mm,
vulnerable. I sat with myself and I was like, yo, like when it comes to personal relationships, I'm like, okay, I call it my bullshit ticker. I'm like, my bullshit ticker is not working. Like this is
mm,
something I can't call bullshit at the beginning, like something off. And then I
mm,
had to sit with myself, be really vulnerable and honest. As great as I think I am, I'm in this
mm,
world of coaching and healing. And the answer was something I did not want to hear was I have a desperation for love.
mm,
And that's real. It's like wanting to be
mm,
validated, what desperate for family. I'm getting
mm,
older. I want family. I want children. I want a partnership. So because I am leading with desperation,
mm,
picking the wrong partners.
mm,
I'm making bad choices. I'm doing things that are not necessarily healthy. And it
mm,
was a hard thing to admit to myself and
mm,
to say also publicly, but it's real. Now that
mm,
I can label it, see
mm,
it for what it is, now the next time I encounter somebody, I can be like, oh,
mm,
are you doing this out of desperation or are
mm,
you doing this out of alignment? And then so
mm,
that way I can choose better. And so that's just as an example, like when we self sabotage, we really need to sit with ourselves, reflect, think about what we're doing that are actually stopping us from growing in areas that we want to grow. And that
mm,
goes all to like committing to self. And I'm sitting here and I made a decision. I'm like, yo, the next 6 months to a year, I'm committing to myself before I
mm,
commit to anybody, before I even give anybody a chance. The commitment is to self. So now the
mm,
question becomes, what does that look like?
mm,
What does committing to self look like? And what does
mm,
sitting with self look like? And
mm,
I'll leave you with the last thing my friend told me is that when we don't sit with ourselves, when we don't reflect, when we don't hold ourselves accountable or, whatever it is, all we're saying to ourselves is that I'm not enough to sit with me. You're telling
mm.
yourself, I'm not enough. And
Yeah.
you want somebody else to sit with you when you can't even sit with yourself.
Yeah.
Well, it
It,
doesn't
well,
work that way.
well, it looks like this. It looks like an individual having a real conversation with themselves and identifying where real areas of improvement and working on in one area of improvement at a time. I think sometimes people are in desperation um, to overcome things that they don't allow themselves to really focus on one area at a time that is important at that time. So even when they get ready to do the work of self-reflection and overcoming things, they just say, all right, I'm gonna do all these things at once, as opposed to uh, reflecting, sitting with themselves, and then focusing on one thing that's very important in that time to sit with for 6 months to a year, and really uh, change that habit, that way of thinking, that practice for the better. Because, like you said, um, there's no, with fear, that's one side of it, right? But then being courageous, you can't be courageous without fear. That being courageous would be the good habit. Fear would be the bad habit, and that exists with every habit. And then you take those habits and turn them into best practices, which become lifestyles. So it looks exactly like what you just described. Casey, what you got?
I'm gonna detour this conversation a little bit because
Oh,
I got some other questions that I want to ask.
okay.
Right. So we got a guru, yoga. Now, how you doing today?
I'm
You
good. How
good?
are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. See, I like all the stuff y'all talking about. That's cool. I like that. I want to ask other questions though.
Okay.
Tell me about yoga. How you work with the yoga? Like yoga is that's for like managing your anger and things like that, right? That's what you're doing.
I mean, I use yoga for like mental health and emotional health more than anything else. And it definitely has changed my life. When
Mm-hmm.
I first started yoga, I really approached it from a physical aspect only because it
Mm-hmm.
felt challenging. It felt like something, I'm a type of person, if you give me a challenge, I'm going to do it. And
Right.
strictly, it was physical for me. But throughout the physical practice and the challenge, without focusing on meditation or yoga itself, I noticed that I've changed in a way that I didn't anticipate. I was a lot calmer, less reactive. I started to feel at ease in the midst of like getting my degree, PhD in engineering. I was in a very stressful time, but I was
Mm-hmm.
not stressed. So that got me to be
Mm,
like, okay, I need to learn more about this yoga thing because
Mm-hmm.
how am I getting all these benefits without actually focusing on meditation? And
mm,
so since then, I mean, I do a physical practice, but a lot of it has been really just understanding life and self,
Mm-hmm.
and through of just like existing and being, most importantly, like honest with self to get to the truth of who I am, and being open and vulnerable and just being human and being okay
Right.
with that. I think that's the part that we're afraid to face ourselves. Like,
Right. So for
really are.
people like myself who deal
Hmm.
with like short tempers, short fuses, know that I can get angry at the drop of a dime. Right. What
She's
what
smiling because she talking about people like yourself. She's like people like us. But go ahead.
right. Same difference, right? I'm just asking like, so how do you what would be your recommend like how would you say, Casey, this is what you should do to start alleviating some of that anger?
The same thing she did.
It is exactly. You got to sit with yourself. Honestly, it's not about like it's one size fit all, because to me it's like everybody's root of anger, everybody's root of short temper, there's a frustration there. And so we need to get to root of like what is actually
Mm,
like frustrating you. A lot of times is really just inner child stuff or like childhood stuff that has happened that you haven't actually sat with and faced fully and
Mm-hmm.
acknowledged. And that's just the first step. I can't tell you what happens afterwards, because once you have awareness of what the root of the reaction and the anger is, the answers will come later and
mm,
you'll know what steps to take and what's the path. But a
mm,
lot of times it's really just childhood stuff. We either been violated, we haven't been given the things that we're supposed to be given. There's an angry child there. We weren't loved in the way that we're supposed to be loved. There's just a lot of things, but these are common things that happen. And so
Mm-hmm.
if we recognize that as children,
Mm-hmm.
we weren't loved in the way that we should have been loved. Now
Mm-hmm.
that's the hand that we've been dealt. We can't change it. We can't change our parents. We can't change the environment that we grew up.
mm,
That's what you've been handed.
mm,
And once you understand that that's what I've been handed, it's like my question is, so now what you're going to do about it?
mm,
You can sit there and play the victim card and say, oh, this is unfair, this happened to me. Or you can turn it into a superpower and say, okay, this has happened to me, but
mm,
I've learned this X, Y, and Z. I've gained this level of wisdom. I've gained this type of information that I can pass on to the next generation. We're right now in a generation where children are raising children. No one wants to actually be an adult.
mm,
And what I mean is, no one wants to sit with themselves,
mm,
figure out what have I learned from all the things that have happened to me? What wisdom can I pass on to the
mm,
next generation besides pain and trauma? All
mm,
we're passing on is pain and trauma. No one is sitting down like elders like we had in the past where grandma and grandpa can tell you like, hey, my child, I've been through X, Y, and Z, but this is what I've done. We don't have a level of resilience. We don't have patience. We don't have perseverance. We're just like, okay, this happened to me, so I'm gonna cry and whine about it, make bad choices, hurt more people, and just blame it on the way that I just grew up.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, the
So
solution.
yoga looks like just sitting. Just so my perception of yoga is doing all the different bends and downward dogs, monkey flips. I don't know. I'm just making up stuff, I guess. But this is my perception of yoga. But it sounds like what you're saying is yoga is kind of just being still and being at peace and just kind of letting your mind flow and kind of just sitting with yourself. That's more so
all
yoga
of it
opposed
is,
to the.
all of it is yoga. So they understand the physical part is a pathway for you to understand yourself better. We're human, we're physical beings. We only learn through touch, moving, feeling, whatever. We need body. We need our body. It's a vessel.
Mhm.
We're given that. So for us to enter into a meditative state, it has to be through the body. In order for you to sit in meditation for long periods of time without your back killing you, without your legs going numb, you have to practice those muscles to be able to sustain that level of posture for long periods of time, right? So it's the pathway of like exploring yourself through the body. And then slowly you get into that meditative, reflective stage where I'm like, now I'm evaluating and reflecting my life. That's the whole purpose. Like, get your body disciplined and ready so it's not a distraction during meditation. Because as soon as you tell somebody to sit down and meditate, the first thing that's going to move is their body. They're going to start moving, like, oh, my back hurt. I can't. It's like, this is hurting. I want to move. I'm ready to go. They start to get really uncomfortable. So we have to discipline the body so that we're able to get to the mind, so that we
I
can
would
get
think you
to
got to
what.
discipline the mind first. I would,
No, it's the body.
but how though?
You got to, the
Be,
body. You
be,
have to start with the body.
but how though? Because in order for me to even consider meditating, the way my mind is working, my mind is running at 1,000 miles per hour. So
Right.
in
So
order for
you
me to even
distract
sit
the mind.
still, right?
You
How
have to
though?
So you start, that's what I'm saying. When you practice, so technically meditation happens after you've had practice, like a yoga practice. So when you're practicing, you're doing all the postures, the warriors, the asana. This is your mind is going to start running. So we're working with the mind by giving it something to do. This is one of my teachers had told me. The mind is like a toddler. It's like if you don't give it something to do, it will find something to do. That's why your mind starts to wander. So you have to give it something to do. So what do we give it? Postures. Let's distract it with the postures so it can get to a state where it feels leveled. And then by the time you're done with your practice, you can be more at ease, more at calm, because the mind already stopped working for the last hour. It's tired, it's depleted, the body's tired, the mind is tired. Now I can just focus on breathing. So that's how it works. You have to prepare the body for meditation. Because if you just go, yes, I agree with you. If you go straight into like, okay, I'm going to get up without any prior experience, I'm going to get up and sit and meditate, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Yeah,
You're going to stay for 30 seconds and be like, I'm out.
Right. So the distraction. So the distraction is the discipline of the mind, right? Because you distracting it so that you can do your postures, so that you can discipline your mind, so you can discipline your body. So really, in this, we just said the same thing.
I
yeah.
mean,
Well,
similarly.
Right.
I
Go
think
ahead.
I well now I think that, so specifically speaking, what Sanaa is saying is that when you're talking about meditating, because that's how you get in touch with the subconscious mind, right? You got your conscious mind, then you have your subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is at work way more than people give it credit for, because most people don't know how to reflect and then sit and learn from and pay attention to their subconscious mind. And one of the best practices to do that is learning how to effectively meditate. That's how you start to get in real connection with your subconscious mind.
Right. So the thing is, the way I look at it, you have, like you said, the subconscious and the conscious. The conscious mind is basically picking up everything. It's like a tape recorder. You're walking, you're sensing everything, the smell, the music, the visuals. It's constant. It's like a tape recorder. You're just walking around picking up everything, everything. Everything you do in the day, you're picking up. You can't be like, oh, I'm not paying attention to this. I'm not. No, you're in the world. You're going to pick up everything, things that are good and things that are not good, whether you know it or not. It's sticking to you. It's happening. Now, to get meditation is basically filtering out that noise. It's getting to the subconscious mind, which is the filter. So we're trying to filter out the noise, the bullshit, sorry for cursing, that we
Who gives a
just,
fuck?
okay, we connect to every single day. It's like filtering system. So your meditation, when you sit down, the very first few months you sit down, it's going to be a bunch of bullshit that is running through your head. It's a bunch of noise because you never filtered it out. So when you say, okay, mind, I'm ready for you, the floodgates are going to open. Every single thought, things that you haven't thought in 10 years. You're like, why am I thinking about this right now? Oh, I got to do this now. Let it do this now. Now you're thinking of a million things because you never filtered out the noise. You never took the trash out. You never took the trash out. So now the trash is like coming in. And so it's going to take some time. Let's say I'm 38 years old. If I've never meditated, I got 38 years worth of trash that I never took out. So it becomes a habit when you create every single day. It's just like, I'm taking the trash out. So I got to sit, and it's going to be sometimes noisy. And sometimes you didn't pick up trash. Maybe it's not noisy. You're fine. So it's a habit that you have to create every single day. And it doesn't have to be long. It could be a minute. It could be 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Who cares? The fact is just, I'm going to sit and create space to sit with myself. That's the commitment. I'm doing it for self. Seeing what's going on. Let me do a check-in. What do I have with me before I start my day? And what do I have with me before I go to sleep? Like, what did I carry out throughout the day with me? Like, how am I like cleaning my system out? So we clean our bodies. Most times people in fitness training, you're cleaning your body out. You're eating healthy. You're working out. You're doing all this stuff. But you're also not sitting with yourself. There's a lot of people who are hyper fitness people. They're also avoidant. They work out to avoid themselves.
To avoid, yeah. But not when you train. Because when you train, it's different than working out. And that's why you come to Train the Brain Fit Club. So you can see the difference. So my approach to training is similar to, like yoga. But so definitely when you are talking about the mind making a decision to do something, it does start with the mind. When you're talking about going into certain things, there are best practices. And one of the best practices, if you're going to really start sitting for yoga, is to prep your body. So when you are in that moment, the body doesn't become a distraction for the mind, is really what Sanaa was saying, because the mind itself is going to have its own distractions to go through. And if you prep your body the right way, your body won't become another distraction where your mind starts to say, oh, this doesn't feel right. Oh, wow. And you can't really get to that part of getting to your subconscious because you're too busy focusing on your body. And so that's what
we should
both were saying.
So what we should do when our minds start running, focus on the pose.
That's not meditation. Before, I'm saying like before, but when you get talking about because there's two places that we're focusing on, like preparing and then actually being in meditation. In meditation, if your mind starts to get distracted, you actually don't bring the attention to the body, you bring the attention to the breath.
You breathe.
And so you start to breathe and you start to pay attention to, and there's many methods. It's, meditation techniques. So it's like you can count your breath. You can, do many usually I do counting breath meditation, or I try to like deepen my breath.
What that look like?
Pay attention. So for instance, counting breath is like if my mind is starting to wander and go crazy, I take a deep inhale and then I exhale. Then I begin inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, hold it at the top. Exhale it for 4, 3, 2, 1, hold it at the bottom. And you continue. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, hold it at the top. And then exhale 4, 3, 2, 1, and you hold it. And you can do a count of 4, 8, 12. So when you breathe, which is what I'm noticing you're doing, is like
I needed more than 4.
You do. You know why? You have a short breath because you're breathing through your lungs. You need to learn how to breathe through your diaphragm. You're doing what we do as kids when the doctor says take a deep breath. We're like,
yeah,
right. So the lungs need to be where they are. They're expanding. They're not lifting. So the diaphragm needs to expand. So you have to pretend that your stomach is a balloon, And when you inhale, you fill your belly with air like a balloon without moving the chest. No, leave the chest where it is. So I'm going to tell you a trick. Bring your right hand to chest, left hand to belly.
I see
This
you do
is
this all the time.
right. So this hand is to let you know that my chest shouldn't go up. It's going to keep the pressure of my chest, keeping it down. And when I inhale, you're going to push your belly against your hand, like you're going to have a big belly. Yes. And then you exhale, bring that belly button towards your spine completely. Release all the air. So nothing moved. Notice that my chest is not moving. Relax
Now
the
yours
chest.
looked better. Hold on.
Yeah, don't move the chest. Breathe through the diaphragm. Think of your belly. Belly, push your belly out.
And
Don't
relax. And relax.
relax.
You gotta
Hey,
relax.
hey, listen.
You
Hey,
squeeze it out hard.
I'm trying
So
to figure it out. I'm trying to breathe.
yeah, but it's intentional breathing. And as Sanaa is giving you like deeper insight into that. I always see this, and I never knew what that meant. So that was free game right there. I'm charging everybody that just witnessed that. You owe us some money. You can send it to us as soon as you see this on the playback or live. That was free game. But it is intentional breathing, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sanaa. With that intentional breathing, the main purpose when you're doing that is to relax and then connect. Give yourself an
So
opportunity to connect.
yeah, so it's conscious breathing. And so
Yeah.
we are taught to really have short breaths, and we need to lengthen our breaths. And so that's why I say use your diaphragm, because it has a lot more capacity for the air to go in. And so when you do that, even your nervous system calms down. So if we're talking about physical, let's leave the mind aside. Your nervous system calms down. Your body calms down because you have more oxygen flowing through the body because you're bringing more air. So the longer you can have your inhale go, you look like a pregnant lady.
I'm trying to push it into my back. I'm trying to push it out and push it in.
But you
Breathe
laying
in,
like this.
breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. I'm trying to.
Oh,
I'm
are
trying
we
to.
about to battle?
Right. I'm trying to catch it.
Now
You
we're
know what I'm
crumping with
saying?
the breath.
Huh?
I said, now we're crumping with the breath.
I'm trying to
Crumpet,
figure
Chris
out
Brown
something.
doing a Chris Brown form of meditation. That is the Chris
Hey,
Brown form of meditation.
call it what you want. I'm trying to. It take practice to get anything right.
No,
Yeah,
you're
but
right. Just
yeah.
practice it.
Yeah.
And one of the
It has to
practices that
be, isn't it?
you touched on a lot of stuff, and one of them that you were talking about is I write quotes, and ain't no secret. And I start conversations always with, like every session, right? I'll say, how you feeling today? Mind, body, spirit, right? That's how I'll start every single training session. If you train with me, old, young, child, adult, that's how I start every single session. How you doing today? Mind, body, spirit. That's how I start we about to live, do whatever. Athletic training, how you feeling today? Mind, body, spirit. And there's a reason why. But the solution is always in the problem. When you were talking about, people, children raising children because they haven't dealt with certain traumas and all that good stuff. One of the quotes that I wrote came to mind, which is the solution is always in the problem. But the problem is being courageous enough, honest enough, mindful enough to identify the root of what the real problem is. And once you do, like you said, you've already started to unlock the solution, right? When you identify what the real problem is, not just reacting and going off traumas and triggers and just, being not mindful of what's going on, but you say, oh, this is the real issue. And now you can, right when you do that, you've solved the problem. You've started to take the step to, undo what has been done. By the way, you are matching with your plant behind you. It looks amazing. You about to
My
camouflage.
baby.
Yeah, we go.
What's those
That's
elephant ears?
No, this is I have elephant ears at the bottom. This is actually a fiddle leaf or a fig tree, and they're hard to take care of. I've had them for 5 years. So these are my babies.
It's a fig tree. It be making the fig fruits. Ain't that what that ain't
No,
fig a
they
fruit?
call it that. I don't know if it does. I've had it for 5 years. I didn't see a fig come out of it. So
that's not
Hey, if you
that
do, let's make some fig Newtons and
that's
send them out here. And
that's
send
not
them out here.
that's not your baby.
That is Zaytun. He's
Yes,
somewhere. He hasn't
yes,
bothered
yes,
us yet. He's somewhere.
yes, yes. That is your baby.
He's the star. He's the celebrity. Everybody's always asking about Zaytun.
That's her cat. Um, so let's go to this next question. Anything else, Casey? You said you had some questions. Anything else?
Nah, you know what? Cause I like, man, she the mind person, man. She here for the body. She here for the mental and the breathing. That's a whole conversation in itself. You feel me?
It is. It's
That's a whole
education.
conversation. So you asking about the other stuff. I want to know about the spiritual and the healing and the cleansing part. I want to know about the good stuff. You
That's why
feel
we
me?
have the
Alright.
guru.
Teach me how to calm down on
Teach
some
me
of
how
this
to
good
Dougie.
stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like breathing. That breathing. That's a whole. You see how I'm
It's a
over here.
technique.
I'm
It's
so
a
used to
technique.
breathing through my nose and through my mouth. So when you saying breathe through my diaphragm, I'm just trying to catch my breath when I'm pushing up. You know what I'm saying? I want to know what's gonna help me help others. Right? I was watching your page. I went and looked at your page when P showed me. I said, let me go see, because I was going to talk to you about what's going on in Kuwait. But
Mhm.
I'm more of a spiritual person. So I figured, hey, he said, man, we getting a yogi on here today. I said, ooh, that's my cousin name. So I came out here, and when I said, I can't wait to talk to her, because I want to know, how do yoga and spiritual cleansing and all that good healing go with it. And when he said, Assalamu alaikum, part of me was going to say, well, alaikum assalam. But I just said, I'm going to let y'all do y'all thing. And y'all talking about fasting. You said it's the same thing as Ramadan. I remember going to Ramadan as a kid and going to it to celebrate after it was done, and watching all, you know how this goes. But I was listening. I'm like, oh, okay, I like this. But what I want to hear is, I want to talk about how do, meditation and breathing and all that, like, for somebody who ain't never done yoga, for somebody who ain't never been able to slow their mind down, in a sense, right? Because that's pretty much what you're saying. Again, you got to sit with yourself, slow your mind down. And I don't mind devil workshop. So if you sit me down and just tell me to sit right here and tell me to stretch and pose, I guess that made sense when you said do the poses, because you keeping my mind from wandering and
Mhm.
putting giving it a target to focus on. I just want to know, like, and doing all that, how does all that correlate? Like, do you tell your people that you work with, like, hey, listen, once we start doing this downward dog and the other stuff that you said, like,
Mhm.
I don't know none of these poses. I was gonna say gorilla knuckles and barebacks and things like that. I don't know none of these things. You know what I'm saying? But when you talk to them, do you say, hey, this is going to help you clear your mind and learn to breathe and stretch? Some that Pete tells every day, hey, make sure you're stretching, man. Is all this go together? Is this what you're
Well,
doing?
sometimes it depends on who I'm dealing with. So if I have first timers, the first rule for me as as a teacher is to not trigger anybody. So I don't like to dictate how the experience is going to be for a person. I'm not going to
Mhm.
say, "Oh, this is going to clear your mind," and then somebody's in a pose and they're like, "Well, my mind is not clear, so I'm not doing it right." You know, so I don't like to say what something's going to do. And so even when people tell me like, oh, am I supposed to feel it there, I'm like, well, do you feel it there? They're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, then you're supposed to feel it there. So I can say like, oh, this is going to target the hamstring, or your mind might start to wander here, bring your attention to your breath, like, because I know. But I try not to curate the experience to tell them like where they should feel, how they should feel, or what should happen, and more
Mm.
of like the practice is exploration. So I always invite people to explore themselves during the practice. I say at the beginning, like, hey, some things may come up. I want you to take note, to not criticize how your body shows up, how your mind shows up, how your breath shows up. We're just going to take note. We're exploring our bodies and our mind during this practice. And so as we go, don't start to get frustrated. Be more curious about, like, I wonder why my body feels tight right now. That was
Mm.
interesting. I didn't think my shoulders would be hurting. I didn't think my mind would go there. That is very interesting. Why is that here? So it's more of like joining the practice without expectations of where it's going to go, and allowing the practice to lead you. And it always, for me, starts with the breath. So at the beginning, like we just did, I'm
Mm.
telling people to just connect with their breaths and give them different, what we call pranayama, which is breathing techniques, to practice even when they're not with me. So let's start with the breath first. And when you're moving through the practice, lead with the breath rather than with the body, because the body will go where the breath is going. So just kind of like move and flow and explore. That's the same thing with meditation. When you're sitting in meditation, it's not you're looking for an answer. I'm not looking for a certain result. I'm sitting to see what is present with me. What is here with me right now? What do I need to observe? So it's like exploring, observing, being curious, and being like, oh, this is interesting. I wonder why that's here. I wonder why I'm feeling this way. Let me sit with that. Let me explore that. So I don't, even in my one-on-ones, when I do my consultation, don't drag people into spaces that they're not ready for. So I ask questions. I'm like you said, I'm short-tempered. So I would be like, okay, why do you think you're short-tempered? And then you'll start to be like, well, I think. If you want to answer publicly, why do you think you're short-tempered?
Talking about me?
Yes.
Yes.
Why do I think I'm short-tempered?
Yes.
Because people get on my nerves.
Why
So
do people get on?
Why do they get on my nerves?
Why do you label yourself short-tempered? Why do you give yourself that label?
Why do they get on my nerves? I'm gonna answer that. I'm gonna answer that one first. Why do they get on my nerves? Because sometimes people act like they ain't got common sense. You know, common sense ain't really all that common. So you know that's one of my.
But why is that bother?
Because I like common sense. I like to use my common sense. So when somebody else don't use theirs, my job to me, I feel like the reason I'm here, my purpose, is to help people and kind of like navigate. You know what I mean? So when you see somebody and you give somebody a clear instructions, like y'all ever seen that Instagram? I don't know if you ever seen it, but the mama was like, Johnny has 3 apples. Billy gave Johnny 2 apples. How many apples do Johnny have now? And the boy was like 4 or 3, and the mom was like, no, fool, is 5. And like the daddy came and helped him, was like, the answer 5, and the boy kept on getting it wrong. Like I was sitting over here like, man, if y'all don't grab that little boy up and tell that little boy the answer is 5, you know what I'm saying? Like, because sometimes people just seem to act like they don't have even a lick of sense, and it irritates me because.
What about the perspective of that maybe people don't? And maybe what we're lacking here is less than common sense, but compassion. Most people, if you're trying to lead people and guide people, what they need is not common sense. So because we all grow up with different experiences. We all have different ways of living. We all think and get brought up in different ways. And that same person that, you know, the example, I've seen that video of that boy saying like, oh, 5, 5, 5. He probably has fear so present that he keeps saying the wrong answer, and people just keep getting frustrated with him instead of having patience and compassion. You're getting mad at a child for not answering correctly, like he's supposed to know that answer. And then we label him as what? As not smart, dumb. And then we're just keep implementing that story to that child that he's not good enough. He's not smart enough. He's not this. And so he's going to keep being afraid to even use his brain in a way that he's supposed to. And so when we are dealing with people, when we're saying common sense, yes, is common sense. But we're also approaching it from our lens, from how we see things, how we see the world, how we're brought up, and how things were being, you know, given to us. And instead of like trying to school people and advise people, how about we ask them questions like, what about this that you're not comprehending or don't understand? Is there something that you need me to explain furthermore? Do you want me to elaborate more? Do you even want my advice? Sometimes we give people advice, I don't even want it.
Right. I mean, but still, even with the common sense thing, though, it's only, even if you give compassion, right? You still expect some kind of results. You're still going to expect the result. Why not? Am I just going to keep on telling you the same thing?
No, asking was your question. Why?
Right, and that was my answer. Like, why not? You know what I'm
but
saying?
the result
Why
of what?
Okay, if we see the problem and we identify the problem, I'm gonna be compassionate enough to say, all right, hey, let me show you how to do this correctly. Right? Let me show you the correct way. I can dumb it down for you to make it as simple, right? You know, I like to use the KISS theory in life, keep it simple and short. You know what I'm saying? So if I can give it to you this way, and I feel like, all right, I laid this out for you in a way that there's no way you can get it wrong. but you still get it wrong. Okay,
Then you
okay, let's
leave
try it.
him.
Do you
Leave
leave
him.
them? Right,
If
but
if
that's a lack of compassion then.
it is compassion though, because compassion for me is not giving you. If somebody, you have to understand, everybody's processing time is different. Everybody processes things different, and the length of process, it may seem like a shortcut to you, but to me it may not make sense to me. Like it is not clicking. You know, you could tell me like, hey, when the red light turns right, you got to stop. Right? You just stop. Just come and
Right.
stop. You won't get into the accident. You want to run into a car, stop. But people may still run a red light. That's common sense, right? They still run a red light. Why? Some people like the thrill. Some people like to see what's the risk if I get it wrong. What will I learn if I get it wrong? What will happen? Some people like to test the boundaries. And for
But now you
me, it's
leave
like,
me. Go
no,
ahead, I'm
I'm
listening.
not leaving you. It's compassion. You have to understand, compassion does not mean enabling and being by your side 24/7. Compassion can also mean that I leave you to make the own choices that sometimes are not good for you. Compassion is not like I gotta make sure, like I had to learn that the hard way. I have a little sister. And I'm thinking, like, yo, I know what's best for her. Don't make the same mistakes I made, this and that. But I'm also robbing her from the opportunity of growth. A lot of us learn from my mistakes. A lot of us learn from the things that we were not supposed to do. A lot of us grew from those spaces. So we're robbing people from opportunities of growth when we feel like we have to tell them what the path should look like. But for
But
who?
then I'm robbing myself then, because now I'm gonna rob myself of a feeling of void. I'm gonna feel void because I started something that I couldn't finish.
But you
You know what I'm
did
saying?
finish. But it's not done yet. The result, the thing is, you planted the seed. You're not robbing yourself because you planted the seed. You gave that person a book. You gave a person a Google map. You gave a map quest, and you told them this is the path. Now, whether they get there or not is not a determination of your success or failure. You've done your job. You've given direction. It's like a parent. So you raise your kids the best way you thought you would, and your kids still turn out to be badass kids. Does that mean you failed as a parent?
Yes,
No, they still are human. No,
yes,
because they're still human beings. They're still going to make their own choices.
right.
Anytime
But
there's another human involved, whenever we're
hmm
dealing with humans, they're going to disappoint us. They're
hmm
going to hurt us. They're going to piss us off, and they're going to
hmm
do whatever the hell they want to do because they're
hmm
human.
hmm
And
They're not
they're
robot.
human, and they're their own human. They're their own
right,
human.
Exactly.
They're not your human.
So
right.
let
But
them.
you still got to hold some level of responsibility there and accountability for how you handled them growing up. So if my child still grows up to be a badass or whatever, that means somewhere along the line we was disconnected and I didn't correct something that could have been corrected. Yeah, they're still going to make their own decision because they're still human. They still have free will. But under my guidance, you know what I'm saying? Under my guidance, my job was to make sure that I showed and disciplined and gave all the tools necessary for them to be the best version of themselves moving forward. Now, if something didn't happen at the end of that, somewhere along the line, I messed up somewhere that I need to correct. And we can say, nah, because the child's still gonna do what they're gonna do because we're not the only influences. But my job
Right.
as the
But you
parent
can do
is to
your
make
job,
sure.
but there's other influences too, because it's not just you raising the child, right? The child
Right,
is also being influenced by other things. There's other
School,
environment. They're
right,
not,
school,
unless the
TV.
child is homeschooled, you know, 24/7 and they're in your care 24/7, you
no,
can completely be 100% perfect parent. But if they're going to school, most of their time is actually not spent with you. It's spent what?
That's
At school. Their
at the
peers,
TV.
their teachers, whatever the case may be. So for me, like, I'm sorry, I disagree with that. And to some level, yes, you can be like, oh, I try. You can try your absolute best,
Hmm
and no one gives you a guidebook to parenthood because that is
hmm
probably it is the hardest job ever. You know,
hmm
you do the best that you can, but there's other influences. And then even when your child falls off, I've been a badass teenager. I've done shit my parents didn't approve of, but I've learned from that. I've gained wisdom from that. So what I
Right.
mean is that from our experiences, the things that we're not supposed to do, we gain wisdom. And so where we're robbing them is from learning, hey, don't touch the fucking stove. You're gonna burn your hand. Don't play with fire. You're gonna set shit on fire. They're gonna learn. Like they're gonna have to learn in their own way. And we have to give them that experience. We're trying to do when we try to create, whether outside of children, people we're guiding, right? Community. When we're trying to tell them like, hey, follow this blueprint of life, what we're robbing them is the experience of life, of finding their own blueprint that works for them. They still have a level of internal guidance. We are here guiding people. We're not here dragging people.
Right.
It's not my job to drag you into the path that I think is right. I give you the direction. I give you the, let's talk about Jesus. Jesus came, gave you the message, and people still try to crucify him. Okay? They're human. You know, you can what level of Jesus of miracles. Jesus had miracles. Okay? He was doing the most. We're talking about the greatest guy that ever had walked this earth. You know, he couldn't even get nations, people behind him. Right? So I'm saying, like, we as human, we think that we can just save people from themselves. We cannot. What we can do is bring them back to themselves. So we guide them by asking questions so that they can find the answers that work for them, so they can walk the path that is right for them.
People become very defensive, most people, in that, and that is sometimes what is the disturbance, because people become defensive when you guide them back to themselves. They are not ready unless they are ready to really sit with themselves. Most people will become defensive before they become ready to do the work that needs to be done. When you truly guide someone back to themselves, they will become defensive most of the time, most people. But you are correct. And compassion, yes, compassion is very important. But oftentimes, some people who call themselves compassionate are actually, they confuse compassion with inhibiting, and is that the correct word? Inhibiting people. Like they're actually doing the opposite of what they think they're doing, and they confuse it with being compassionate. They say that they're being compassionate, but they're actually,
Enabling.
Enabling. Yes, they are enabling an individual, and they're calling it compassion. And I will say this: when you're working with people, adults, children of all ages, it's actually a gift to be able to connect with them where they are and get them to have the aha moment where you connect with them where they are. You have to learn to connect with a person where they are, and let them have that moment where they go, oh, that makes sense. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, that is a best practice. Because the number one thing that we want to do here is give people best practices that they can take with them as tools and utilize it. If they agree with themselves when we give them that aha moment, that was a good idea, that is a good practice. So as a leader, as a person who is working with people, the number one thing that is something that we should be focused on is how to give people that aha moment that they will take with themselves, because then they're more likely to adhere to it when we ignite it within them. And we can sit back and listen. We should listen more than we speak when we're working with an individual or a group of people, so that the answer of that aha moment that we can trigger within them has an opportunity to exist. And then they go, that makes sense. I like that. I'm going to do that. You just change their lives for the better when that happens.
Right. It's meeting people where they are versus having people meet us where we are. And that's what compassion is. It's like, where can I meet you where you are? So with whatever level of emotional capacity, mental capacity, physical capacity, I'm not going to be like, hey, come to my level. I'm like, where is it? And this is the way when I teach, like I can do a lot of things with my body. I'm pretty flexible, pretty strong. But when I'm teaching, I'm very gentle. I don't showcase the moves that I can do. Wherever the person that can do the least, I'm meeting them there. Because I want to at least be like in the room full of yogis. I want you to see somebody that's at your level and feel comfortable there. It's being able to relate to people. That's what being in community is. It's like being able to say like, hey, I'm with you. If we're doing a race and I know I'm faster than you, but my people are all the way back there, I'm going to go all the way back there because I'm about community. And this is where I talk about coming into adulthood versus staying in adolescence. Adulthood is about community, about responsibility, about doing it together, about meeting that person where they are, and let's do it together. Not about like, hey, competition, which is very teenage mentality. I don't care about anybody else. This is what I want. I'm gonna do my own thing. I don't care if these people will come. I'm just gonna go. We all know teenager behavior. We all been teenagers, right? It's all about me. I don't care about nobody else. I don't care. It's me. But when you step into adulthood, it's no longer about me. It's about the world around me as an adult. And so for me, if I'm going to position myself, which I think it's a calling that you become a leader, it's like if I'm going to lead people, I'm going to have to meet them where they are. Back to Jesus, because everybody knows Jesus, no matter what religion you're in, whether you believe him or not, we all know Jesus. It's like he met people where they were. He was not just only sitting with the high almighty. He went to the slum. He went to where people were, and just like most of the time is just listen, like, hey, I'm here to tell you this. But he didn't fight people. He didn't be like, oh, you guys are going to hell. You know, you're going to hell if you don't. It's more of like, hey, this is the message. This is what I'm here to tell you. This is good for you. Now, you can, with the idea of even being saved, what people don't understand is like saving yourself from yourself. At the end of the day, God gonna be God. Whether you prayed, you fasted, you give tithes, whatever, God gonna be God. You doing whatever you do is not gonna change his status. So when we're telling you this is the path, you're supposed to do X, Y, Z, it's for you. Prayer is not for God. He don't need your worship because he gonna be God regardless. Prayer is for you. It's for you to feel connected and know like, hey, there is something bigger than me. There is something that I need guidance from. He gave you we all read the Bible, we all read the Quran, we all read the Torah, whatever was given to you, we all read it, and we still fuck up. Because what? We're human.
1 second. I just got my trivia question of the day.
Yes.
Bingo. You just gave it to me. Which one is more important? The prayer to God or the relationship with God? Because God's gonna be God regardless. So is your prayers to God more important? Is it the same, or is your relationship with God more important? Because sometimes you can just talk to God without praying, and it don't got to be no prayer. Because I talk to him all the time without going in there asking for something or just whatever. I go in there and just give it to him. So that's my trivia question. Which one is more important?
Before you answer, Sanaa.
The prayer or the relationship. Go ahead.
Before you answer, just in case we have some people who just came in and people went out or came back in, or people just came back in. If you are just now tuning in, you are watching myself, Coach P, KC, and our special guest joining us live from Kuwait, Dr. Sanaa, who is a good friend of mine, and you are in the midst of the conversation that we are having right now. So I just want to let everybody know that we are live with Dr. Sanaa. And where can they find you at if they want to go on a retreat, if they want to talk to you or utilize any of your services? Where can they reach you?
Lady Dork.
Lady Dork. What's the reasoning behind the name Lady Dork? I know.
Oh God.
Share with the people at Lady Dork.
So my nickname growing up was Ladybug because of my freckles. So that's where it comes from. And then when I was in college, people started calling me Dork. So I just took the nickname, childhood nickname, and then college nickname and just put it together. So it's old. It's actually since like MySpace days. That's how old this name is. And it went from MySpace to Twitter, then came to Instagram, and just a nickname. So
and now you have a whole tribe.
I do. I have the Dork tribe, my people.
Yeah, the Dork tribe. Now, why are you a self-proclaimed dork?
I am a dork. I'm very goofy. Anybody that knows me know, like maybe on social media, I don't show up my goofy ways, but if you're around me, I'm very childish. I'm very goofy. I'm funny as hell. But
you also, you got a degree. What's your degree in?
Oh, why am I a nerd? So I have a PhD in environmental engineering. My bachelor's is in chemistry and math. I also have an MBA as well. So I'm a geek.
So you smart as you don't know what. You feel me? Smart as you the smart. Listen,
at least she thinks. At least she thinks she is.
Nah, she ain't thinking, man. I ain't thinking she's gonna prove. She bringing facts.
I got paper.
No,
Hello,
she
she
ain't.
thought she came
No.
with receipts.
Well, obviously, I believe that she is because that's why she's on the show, and that's why I wanted to make sure you highlighted that. You see how
Right.
I'm
So
I'm
I'm
really
gonna
good
answer
at what
this
I do.
question because you had a really good question. So what is
Now
more
back to
important?
the
Right
question.
here.
Go pose your question
Prayer.
one more time, Casey. Oh, go ahead.
She know.
Sanaa, go ahead.
Go ahead, answer. Go ahead.
The question was, what is more important, prayer to God or relationship with God? Now, if I'm understanding, you're talking about prayer in a way where people are asking God for
Right,
something. Okay.
right.
So for me, obviously, the relationship to God is much more important. So everybody that knows me know God is my homie. I talk to him like I would talk to anybody. And to me, that is the relationship I have. Like, obviously, yes, sometimes when things get really heavy, really dark for me, that's when I go to God and ask for strength, obviously, and for help and support. But most of the time for me is just literally a conversation where I'm like, whether it's through my journal, whether it's just talking to him, like, okay, let's talk this out. Like, and sometimes I joke with him too, because again, I think he has a good sense of humor. I'm like, come on, like this has to be a messed up joke. I'm like, you can't be real. Like, is this real? And then we just talk, and I just talk to him like he's my best friend. He's my close homie. Like that's for me, the relationship with me with God is like he's in everything that I touch, everything that I do, every conversation that I have, which is why we're talking about it now. I'm always going to bring God up in everything that I do. And for me, the way I view God is from a lens of love and is not the way that I grew up in. I grew up Muslim. And so a lot of it is came from a place of many religions. When you're in a very controlled environment, it's like fear of God and just being afraid of what he will do to you versus like the love for God. And like for me, I approach it from I love him so much that I don't want to disappoint him type of energy. Like I don't want him to feel sad for me. He created me in this image, in this way, with this message, with this mission. And I don't want to make him feel like sad. Like for me, it's like I don't want God to be sad for me. Like we're all gifted and we're all chosen. This is the thing. It's like we're all chosen, but our
Indeed.
mission is different. We're all chosen to do different things in this life. Some of us are chosen to just be a listener ear, compassionate listeners, right? Some of us are become leaders. Some of us are like about community. Some of us are chosen to be amazing parents. Some of us are chosen to be whatever. Like we all have, maybe some of us are born to be the comedians that are chosen to make everybody have joy and laughter. Like we're all chosen to do something. And so it's just the idea of purpose where people get lost in it. They think it has to be on a bigger scale. Like I have to be in a big crowd and I got to lead the whole tribe and the people. And that might not be your calling. Your purpose could be that friend that is supportive, that picks you up, that person that you can rely on, that your community or just, one-on-one. Like our purpose is different. Like there's people in my life, their purpose is really just to bring joy. Like they just walk into the room and it's just like you feel joy in their presence. Yeah,
So
Parrish, maybe you're one of those people.
let me ask you this:
That's your
Muslims,
purpose?
I'm one of those
Muslims.
people she was talking about just now.
Nah, it's all good. So like Muslims, it's kind of still on Jesus, right? You ever
Mhm.
notice, like, as the years grew on from when you're younger, you heard Emmanuel. Then as you get older, you hear Elohim, Yah, Yahshua, Yahweh, Jesus. We got so many names, right, that we call it. God, to me, God is God. I just call God the universe, but I still try to, because of my relationship with him, I like to call him by all the names because I don't know which one he prefers. So I might get in there and be like, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God. Thank you, Allah. Thank you, Yah, Yahshua, Yahweh. It's so many. Like, how do where do where do all the names come from? That's the
Well,
question. Where do they all come from?
I mean, this is personal opinion. I feel
Go
like the
for it.
thing is the names come from also languages and cultures. So
Mm-hmm.
Allah is just the Arabic word for God. We call
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Isa. So it's just the Arabic term of Jesus. Just like you have Jorge and George.
Yeah.
Right.
Jorge is George. you know,
I heard
but
the
Yeah.
reason they call it Allah is because Allah means there can only be one. When I read,
well,
somebody gave me a Quran. I was going to read the Quran at one point, and I started, but one of the Muslims that I knew at this point, he said, Casey, I want you to read the book. He gave me a pamphlet. It was a short pamphlet, and he was basically saying, I want you to see why Muslims read the Quran versus the Bible. He was showing me the contradictions that's in the Bible versus what's in the Quran. And when he was showing me this, he said the reason they don't use the word God and they say Allah, he said because the word God is manipulated too easily. He said we use words like God, Mother, God, Father. You know, we mess up the word. Where Allah, it can only be one. There's no manipulation. You know what I mean? So I get what you're saying. It's the language barrier. You know what I'm saying? It's maybe the different things, but the name's still different. It's still
The name is different.
names.
Yes, the different. Like, yeah, there's only one God and only God. But the thing is, what I don't like about when it comes to religion is like a lot of people focus on the contradictions and what's so different, which is very minimal, versus the similarity. Okay, so the thing is, like, now again, we're not talking about community and they're like, okay, let's work together. You believe in this, I believe in this. See what we both have in common to be coexist. But no, as humans will do is like, let's separate. Oh, you do this, you do that, but you do this and you do this and you do that, and I do this and I'm from this. Like, what the heck? Like, this is
red
not what
and
God.
blue. Oh, this is red. This is blue. This is Democrat. This is
So,
Republican. This
as
is
Muslims, as a Muslim, the thing is, like, yes, we believe the Quran was the last book. We believe Muhammad was the last prophet. But we also believe in Jesus. We also believe Jesus is the Messiah. We also believe in the Bible pre-translation,
people
interpret.
fucking it up.
So the thing is, like, you cannot be a Muslim, for all my Muslims, if you don't believe in Christianity or Judaism. It doesn't work that way. So when people even tell me like, hey, why don't you like convert? I'm like, convert to Christianity or Judaism, right? I'm like, I'm already that. I can't be a Muslim if I'm not those two. So you're telling me something I already am. I believe in Jesus. I believe in Abrahamic religions. I believe in all those things. My thing is, when it comes to religion, pick a religion that suits your lifestyle, that makes you the better version of yourself. Believe in God and only God, and that He has created all of these things that exist. And however you build a relationship with Him, that is between you and God. Not for us to dictate how you should pray, whether you should pray standing up, laying down, jumping hula hoops, going to church, to a temple, to a mosque. Who cares if you have a relationship to Him and you're becoming a great human being? That is not for me to judge.
I'm listening.
That's for God. To like, I'm just like, I'm not for like, let's talk about, and my people do it too. I'm talking about Muslims. They do it all the time. Oh, this and this and that. I'm like, you're focusing on the wrong thing. The message of all religions is to believe in God and only God. That is something that is greater than you that created this. Because we know anything the pandemic has taught us that we have no control. We have this much control on life, right? There's something that is bigger than us, and that we have to be universally people that walk with ethics and morals. We have universal morals and ethics that we have to follow, and just be a good ass human being. Now, however you do it, your choice.
Now, I went to my brother.
Don't focus on the division.
I went to my brother. He a pastor. I went to my brother about the contradictions in the Bible, and I said, I talked to my brother. I said, "Hey, bro, listen, man. Somebody gave me a book. Now I remember going to the masjid and sitting down. You know, I remember all this when I used to pray all the time. I remember, so I know what the Muslims. I know it, and he gave me this book, bro. And what they showed." You know, I seen the contradictions, and I seen it. I was like, brother, he said this and that and that. So this is how my brother put it to me. He said, Casey, he said, you got to look at it like this. If all three of us right here witnessed the same car accident, and then somebody individually came and talked to us individually. The way you're going to tell the story is going to be different from the way I told the story. The way Pete tell the story going to be different from the way you told the story. We all saying the same thing. We may just put our spin on what we seen. So when we telling the story, it looked like we contradicting each other, but we just reaccounting what we seen from our perspective, and that's what he said they're doing in the Bible. They're giving their perspectives, but they're all telling the same story. So to us, outside it looks like a contradiction when really it's just different people recounting what happened in their own way.
They're
And
also
what
telling
happened? It's just an accident. The message is that there was a car accident, right?
All right, or that Jesus came through, right? Pretty
Yeah,
much. That's
yeah.
what I'm saying.
Right. It was
And
like, however the car accident happened, however
It
the
happened.
encounter, who saw, who was there. The message is that there was a car accident.
yeah, and it's also
That's it.
individuals' comprehension. It's also individuals' comprehension. People's level of comprehension is always in play. How they comprehend, how they're able to articulate what they comprehend. Comprehension is a real thing. And so, when people that game of telephone where you say something into somebody's ear and it goes around, and when it comes back to the person, it's not even the same thing that the message as it started, because people's level of comprehension is always at play. So that has a huge effect on how they give information that would otherwise be great information, because they may have taken great sound information, but because of their comprehension or lack of comprehension, it changed into something else. And so when they deliver it, they can only deliver it from a point that they comprehend.
Well, the thing
Yeah.
is, what we're all like, all of us, because I say all of us, because we're all at some point in life have done this. What we fail to realize is whatever we're reading, comprehending, it's just a guide. It's not meant to be followed blindly. There's a lot of gray areas. There's a lot of things left up for free will and reflection based on where you at in life. They didn't have technology then. Do we have things about social media? How to do this, how to do that? No, we don't. So there's a lot of things in life that are going to come up that there is no guidebook for,
Mm,
like parenthood, and we're going to have to figure things out on our own, which is your inner guidance, which you get more better and better with your intuition when you develop a deeper and deeper connection and relationship with God. So the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, whatever book, it's a guide. It's not meant to be, these are stories to tell you examples, to give you an idea so that you can sit back and still arrive at your own answer. It's not meant to be followed exactly. There are certain commandments, yes. There's certain, okay, we all know we're not supposed to kill people. That's universal, no matter what you
But the
believe
Bible
in.
is the most
That's fine.
violent book. The Bible, the most
What I'm
violent book
saying,
that
just
we ever
keep that,
read.
yeah, it is. So we'll just keep that to the side. But I'm saying,
Right.
keep the Bible. It's a guide, right? So if we know back then, we're talking about the times that where this was sent. We were talking about barbaric times where this was not okay, right? So we're talking about different times, different things that have changed over time. But the thing is, everything that we read, and remove religion, self-help books, even this conversation,
absolutely,
everything
absolutely.
that we share, it's meant for you just to listen to, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And if it resonates, great. If it aligns with you, take it. If it doesn't, then you leave it. You still have to have your own answer, your own guidance, your own intuition. We're not meant to follow things blindly. Then where's the
Right.
free will? Where's your brain working? Like, read something, listen to something, sit with yourself, reflect, and be like, hey, why do I agree with that? Do I agree? Why do I not agree with that? What is going on here? And then come to your own decision. But nowadays, remove religion. Now you have social media. People just listen. Now that's their Bible. That's their Quran. They will get, let's talk about fitness. They'll see somebody that
Oh
self-proclaimed
my God. Oh my
person that
God.
tells you if you do this
Oh
exercise, your
my
glutes are
God.
going to be this big, and you got people
Oh
injuring
my God.
themselves. You got
Oh my
people
God.
giving advice about nutrition, and they're not dietitians or nutritionists or nothing. We
Oh
got
my
people giving
God.
false information, and that's no different from previous times when people used to always give false information.
Mm,
So this is why meditate, back to my point, meditation, reflection, connecting with what you mentioned, the relationship with God,
Mhm.
something that is bigger than you, is coming back to self so that we can have the right answer for us without any noise and distortion. That's what we're trying to get to. What is really my answer versus what Parrish said, what Sanaa said, what KC said? Like, what is my answer? What can I live with? What decisions can I live with? And most importantly, if you're a believer in God, that I can face God with. That for me is the scariest thing, is that when I go to God and I'm like, okay, so he's like, why did you do this? He's like, well, the pastor told me. And he's like, well, is he your God? Did I send him for you?
Mm.
I'm gonna choke and be like, well, he said he read the Bible or the Quran more than I did. He's like, well, did I send him for you? Do you not have a brain to think? Do you not have eyes to see? Do you not have ears to listen to? Do you not have hands to serve? Did I send him? Is he your prophet? Did I send him for you? Is he your God? Like that, I'm not, I'd rather take accountability, be like, well, I thought this was the right thing to do, but apparently I messed up. I'll take accountability versus placing the blame on somebody else's direction and say, well, I just followed them blindly. That's embarrassing. That's gonna look at me like, are you stupid? Like, what? Do you hear yourself?
That's why I make sure that my relationship with God is my relationship with him. You know what I mean? Because even if you read the Bible, it say when there's a party of 3 or more, he is in the midst. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I believe that, but I believe that to a certain degree, right? Because God with me every day. God never leaves you. God never left you. He always with you in everything that you do. He even say that when you was going through your hard times and you thought I left you, it was me carrying you. That's one of my favorite poems, right? Footprints in the sand. When he said it was me carrying you through these times. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think God ever leaves. I believe it's very important that you have your relationship with him, because for me, I ask God sometimes, like, God, why did you let me go through this? Why did you make me go through this? You know what I'm saying? I don't look for the pastor, because I always ask God to speak to me and make it clear for me. Make it clear for me. I don't know what you just did, P.
Oh, man, I didn't know the chat was here the whole time. My bad, y'all. I had it on a private chat because Sanaa sent me on the chat. I thought that was a chat.
I'm reading the private. I'm reading the community chat.
Oh man, we have not been
we got mad
interacting
people
with that chat. My bad, y'all. It's people in here. We got to make sure we got all your names because we do our giveaways and all that good stuff. My bad, Casey. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just realized we were not interacting with the chat. The relationship is more important because prayers are just thoughts, which are vocalized wants and needs. CC said. C-Bell, I'm glad you're in here because I know this is a conversation that is really that you are in tune with. Interpretation of the scripture. What do you mean by that, C-Bell? Interpretation of the scripture. I know this is something that you are. Somebody said, Coach P and KC, if you guys. They said basically we need to be heard more. Yeah, I agree.
What? I didn't get that from that crazy dude. I didn't get that. How you get that?
Because I'm awesome.
She said,
and my level of comprehension.
She said that if we can take our platform and start giving more substance, pretty much saying break down these Bibles and break down some of these things to what we're saying and give more clarity to people on some of these things. And then it'd be a whole different level. What she's pretty much saying is that we taking it to another place that sometimes we don't want to go. And if we can just give it to people in a clear way, in a clear cut way to make it better, that's my interpretation of it anyway. Make sure that we can give people a little bit more, because Dr. Sanaa came on here and she didn't start hitting us with the book and all that good stuff. So now she bringing us, to a whole nother real quick. And so that was a good thing. You know what I'm saying? You know that I like to talk about spirituality. That's my thing. I love to sit up in my closet.
It's when you were talking about the Bible differences. Interpretation.
We're talking about everything.
The Bible.
Right?
It was when he I was reading this comment. He said interpretation of the scripture is based in comprehension and all the good stuff. Basically, KC, that it was I know what was being said. I just directed it how I wanted to direct it. But they're pretty much saying they love this version of you, and that is but we know that this version of you exists and that you look forward to these deep conversations. It's something that you and I have, which is the basis of what we do anyway. And so I know that you were looking forward to this conversation for this reason. And, it's just an opportunity to show all aspects of us. But I'm going to say this too. We're going to do whatever the hell we want to do, how we want to do it, when we want to do it. And that's what the show is all about. We gonna
I
give
like
you the
that.
deep.
So even when we go back to the Bible, I don't know. Sorry, P. Even for me in the Bible, you know what I'm saying? When I read the Bible, it's so many Bibles now. That irks me. It's too many Bibles. And then a lot of the Bibles get rid of the Old Testament. So, and I like the Old Testament better than I like the New Testament. I believe the New Testament gives more fairy tale-ish, where the Old Testament gives you more. I mean, the Bible by itself ain't nothing but death, right? It's a whole book of death. Basic instructions before leaving Earth. They pretty much say, here, this is your guidelines. Take this, run with it, and don't do this. Thou shalt not kill, but the whole Bible is killing by the mass. Everything that we see in the world right now kills by the mass. But we ain't gonna get into that. That's a whole nother topic. But for me, I like the Old Testament better than the New Testament in the Bible. I like Kings 1 and 2 and Genesis and all the good things. I didn't, with Jesus being buried for 3 days and coming back, they say that was Moses, but did they say it wasn't no Moses? It was Moses, right? Am I right? Moses is in the Bible, but they said it's Amun Rapha. You heard of him? You ever heard of Amun Rapha?
No.
Well, they say Amun Rapha is who they're talking about, who's really Moses. But they make the Bible damn near make it the picture they paint is for the white Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Which always throws me through a loop, because if Jesus was white and shiny and glowy, why did Judas have to point him out in a group? Right? But I know I'm rambling all over the place, but I'm glad you
No,
came on
I
today.
mean, these are good. No, it's a good topic. The thing is, like I said, at the end of it, like, and no disrespect, obviously I'm a believer to all of this, it's just like, what is the point on all of this? We get distracted by aesthetics, we get distracted by a lot of things, when it's like the message is the message. So what is the message? What did Jesus come for? What did Abraham come for? What did Moses come from? Noah, what did they come for? What did they say? Believe in God and only God, and God exists, and move with, from a place of love. And we get so distorted with so many books, so many things, that we lose the message, and we become controlling. And it's about power, it's about greed, it's about who's right and who's wrong, and all of this. Like, all of this doesn't matter. Okay, Jesus was black, white, yellow, brown. We weren't there. Okay, we don't know. So does that change the narrative of like what Jesus was? Some people, because they want to put a color on it, want to change the narrative so it can feel more special. Look, if he's more white, then hey, we more powerful. We come from the lineage of Jesus. If he's more, all of this does not, I don't think Jesus is looking at us like, what are y'all talking about? Like, y'all forgetting the point of why I came. Like, again, division. We focus on the things like that are not uniting us, instead of sitting like, okay, like, what do we have in common? Like, I've been to churches, temples, and I'm like, yo, I like the way you worship God. I'm going to implement that. I like gospel music. I listen to gospel music. They make me happy. We don't have gospel music in Islam. Some people believe that it's not allowed, but shit, it makes me happy, makes me closer to God, so I'm gonna listen to it. So I'm just like, hey, I like certain things, certain way of meditation comes from other religions. Like, for me, it's like, take what works for you, leave what doesn't. Takes what brings you closer to God, leave what doesn't. And just stop nitpicking and making your life easier. These religions are not meant to make your life harder. They're meant to make your life easier. So if you feel like trying to keep up with your spirituality and religion is hard as far as rules, then you have too many rules. You have too many rules. You're meant to feel free and liberated. So how can you get more of that freedom and more of that liberation, more of that love, more of that patience, more of that compassion, more relationship with God? How do you do that? How do I get more of that? And what does that look like? Is that fasting?
Yeah.
Is that praying? Is that meditating? What is it? Is that serving community, volunteering, doing my job and showing up and making sure I do my best? Like, what is it? Like, teachers
Technically, we fast every day too, right?
we're sleeping.
Technically, we're sleeping, right? And that's
when
why
you
it's
go to
called
sleep.
break fast. We call it breakfast, but the words is break fast. That's when you're breaking your fast, because now you're eating. So I guess, and then between 3 and 5, is when God say, well, the witching hour, I guess, when you get up and start praying, when you start talking. So I guess in those moments, I guess you're hungry, you get up and you go talk, and then in the morning you get up and break your fast, whatever that looks like, to whatever.
Unless you got a night job and you work overnight, then
you eating and drinking a lot of Red Bull.
Yeah.
A lot of Red Bull.
I was just joking.
A lot of Red Bull and Monsters and B12.
Yeah. But to your point, Sanaa, people like to, like how I say, and it's not just, it's something that people are programmed to do. They like to focus on the leaves, like those leaves behind you on your plant, but not the root, you know, not the root, not the substance of what's real. People, because it causes like distraction and division, and people will distract with, you know, the leaves and everything that's stemming from the root of a problem or the root of an issue or just a solution or a goal. People will easily become distracted with everything else except for what really should be focused on. That's just how most people are programmed, unless you do the work to reprogram yourself. Did you freeze on us? We Sanaa, I think her she got that cheap ass iPhone over there. You know, y'all be working off that. Her she froze. She probably come back. But yeah, so I mean we almost go wrap up.
Yeah. Hey, that was she came on with the good, you know what I'm saying? That her message is good, you know what I'm saying? And the way she think, you know what I'm saying, that breathing technique, I think that was dope, you know what I'm saying, teaching somebody to breathe from the diaphragm. That's that I think that should have been a fitness tip of the day, for real, for real. Learn how to breathe from your diaphragm, you know what I'm saying? Because if you like me, you know, I'm so used to taking deep breaths and trying to let them out, and then losing breath and catching breaths and going short of breath. I think a practice that could have been implemented is learning to breathe from your diaphragm and make sure you're taking that in and allowing yourself to learn how to do that. Because even when she was saying why you look like you're stiff, and you were saying it too, why you looking stiff, it's kind of if you don't know how to do it and practice it, you're gonna look crazy. You over here doing the Chris Brown and you ain't trying to do it, but how do I get here and bring it back? You know what I'm saying? So I think that should have been the more fitness tip of the day. Learn how to breathe.
We said it was a fitness tip of the day.
No, you didn't.
When she said it.
All right, let's do it. They asked us to do one more time. We're going to breathe through the diaphragm. We're going to do it together.
Let's do it together.
All right, so you're going to push back so I can see you. So scoot back. You're going to
relax first. Relax. First thing first.
Yeah,
relax.
First we're going to relax.
Relax your shoulders.
I want you. This is how we're going to relax his shoulders. All right, you're going to roll your shoulders back and then drop them. And then do that 2 more times. Keep your chin here at neutral level. Inhale up and drop it down. Chin down a little bit. All right, let's do it one more time. Up. There you go. And then drop it.
Relax. There you go.
So now hand on the belly, hand on the chest.
No, do it again. Do it again. Do you slapping yourself hella hard? Watch. Put your hand on your belly and on your chest, and now one more time. Start over. You see how she's delicately relaxing? Quit slapping yourself.
Man, she's been doing this for hella years, man. Let me have my moment. Come on, so now show me what you're showing me.
All right. Relax. So you're gonna take a deep inhalation. Belly's gonna push out, so bulge out, while keeping the chest where it is. So no, I need you to sit upright. That's why you're collapsing through your lungs. Sit upright. So here, inhale, belly goes all the way out. Fill it up like a balloon. There you go. Exhale, bring that belly button all the way in towards your spine, as if your belly button is trying to touch your spine. Good. Inhale, poke it out. Fill it up. Keep your lungs relaxed. And then exhale, bring it all the way in. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, fill it out. Fill it up, fill it up. And then exhale, bring it out. And you're breathing in and out of your nose, preferably keeping your mouth closed, and you're just breathing in and out of your nose. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Good.
You just needed to relax.
Man, I just had a fat stomach. I was trying to touch my belly, my damn spine with my stomach. That's why I was over here having hard times breathing.
Yeah, you had to relax.
You had to relax.
You was acting like you was lifting
back
weights
to,
when you was getting ready to do it.
right, it's like relax. But the thing that you mentioned when we talk about like temper and all of this stuff is like if really sitting and reflecting about where is this temper coming from, usually is loss of control, controlling the narrative, controlling results, controlling people. And it's a hard thing for us to admit. We want to control the experience of how it's supposed to go because we want certain results. So the frustration comes from not getting what we want, when we want, and how we want it. And so try to like really sit with that and be like, hey, what will happen if control wasn't part of this? What if I just let people in their ignorance, if you want to call it that, their lack of perspective, their lack of comprehension, or the lack of common sense, like you mentioned, what if I just let them be? What is going to happen? And if you think that as a reflection of your success or your failure, then there's something wrong there because that shouldn't be an indication for that. You showed up, you gave the tools, you gave whatever you could give, and the rest is up to them. And if
Now
they
he
succeed, they'll be happy. If not, I mean, you still should be happy for them anyways. They will
now
learn
he
eventually.
now he relaxing. He likes
Now,
the breathing and he practiced. He tried to drop his shoulders
now,
and
now he's
relax.
a diaphragmatic breather. Now he's just breathing
You
all
see,
day, conscious. Now he's
you
like,
see how the fitness of the
woosah,
tip of the, you see how it just
woosah.
worked real quick. That was you just gave a teaching moment, which was teachable. You showed somebody who needed to learn. You had to be teachable. You was a teacher. I was teachable. And now I just learned how to breathe.
Now use that the next time you get short tempered or you get reactive. Just take a
I'll be
moment,
using it every day.
pause. Like for me, when I find myself, I'm not short tempered, but I do get frustrated. And I used to be a lot. That's why I'm when I'm speaking to you because I've been there. I'm not speaking out of I've been there. I've been short tempered, annoyed. All people frustrate me. Used to lack compassion. And when I find myself being really annoyed, it's just I just take a moment and I just breathe and pause and I don't do anything. And when I don't know what to do, I just sit with it until I have clarity on what to do next. Don't be impulsive, don't be reactive, and if you feel like it's coming up, take a moment. Take a
So
moment. Moment does not mean minutes, it could be days, it could be hours. Just take whatever you need to bring yourself to balance and not
into
be
logic.
reactive because that's helpful to anybody, not to you or to them.
Yeah, and
See?
into logic, and don't just run into. And when you're in the gym, don't just go behind the area where people are not allowed. It's supposed to be staff only, and turn off the music to the whole gym because you don't like what's playing in the gym. So you just shut off the music for the whole entire gym. Don't do that. Even when you're not even supposed to be touching that because you're not supposed to go back there where staff go. And just because it's not
First
the
of
music
all,
you like, what?
it wasn't behind nothing. It was out in the public. It wasn't behind nothing where staff doesn't
I
go. It
oh
was
no, I
out.
wasn't. I didn't say you did
It
anything.
was out. Since you want to call me out, it was out, and the music was loud. I couldn't concentrate, so
We was
I tried to
training
turn
one
it down.
time. We was training one time, and the music was just getting on Sanaa nerves. And then out of nowhere,
I
I'm like,
couldn't take
"Where are you
it.
going? What is you doing?" And she shut down the music for the whole gym. It was like, "Oh well."
I didn't mean to. I was trying to change the song, but then I was like, "Oh shit!" Now everybody's just gonna be working out in silence. Maybe that's okay.
This is a 2-story
It's okay.
facility with hundreds of people in it. But anyway,
Hey,
nah.
you see?
There-
Banana wine gets
Anyways,
better with time. Said, thank you for showing how to breathe through
thank
the diaphragm.
you.
I'll try to tell you, listen, man, you just taught something today because a lot of people deal with short tempers and bad attitudes and bad energy and bad juju. So as long as, wait a minute.
Relax.
Relax.
Yeah,
P,
you gotta
P,
relax first.
let me get in my car, man.
This guy.
Let me enjoy my moment. You know what I'm saying? Listen, it
You're a
ain't gonna look
great
like it.
student. You're a great student.
You
Thumbs
better know it.
up.
You better
That's
know it.
Amazing.
You better know
Like
it. You better know it.
see. So
you're a
see,
yogi. You certified
see,
yogi right now.
You better know it. You better know it. Hello.
would she be working any chance she get to do something with me? Never mind.
Hey man, look,
What?
bring your personality when you come on, man. You did right.
She
You did the
What?
right thing.
You feeling yourself?
She being nice to y'all is all I'm gonna say.
She ain't gotta be nice
Because
to her.
I don't know what kind of platform this is. You told me specifically, Paris said, hey, when you come on this podcast, don't be talking to me like you be talking to me in the sessions. That's what you said. So I'm trying
Well,
to
you
be
should have did the
nice.
exact opposite of what he said.
You know,
You should have did the
I'm trying
exact
to let him
opposite of what he
live.
said. Nah, don't
Actually,
scare
no, I'm
nobody.
always nice to Paris. I just roll my eyes at Parrish a lot because he be doing the most. That's what it is. Parrish will tell me do this, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And he's like, all right, do 10 more of them then. I'm like, I'm not doing it.
You did great with me. Is you coming back on again?
No.
You gonna
I
come back?
will. I like this conversation. Whoa,
Hey, listen.
damn! You over here like you over here? He said, nah, she got to go through me.
Hey, listen. I'm gonna offer this
No.
invitation to you real quick. Hold on, P. I'm finna offer an invitation because look, me and P was just talking. We finna do another little. It ain't gonna be me and P. It's gonna be we gonna put all the women that be in the chat or just women that want to get on. Period. And we gonna let it kind of like a mending bridges type thing where women can sit with each other and kind of teach how to breathe, give some different talk about whatever women need to talk about. And if you need a male perspective, then me and Pia sit right here and kind of give y'all, if y'all want to shoot the question, why y'all act like this? And here goes the answer to that, but then kind of fall back into the background and let y'all do y'all talk. And I want to invite you to be on there because I think you will be very, very the right
A
person, one of
leader.
the right people to be up there. You know what I'm saying? You ain't necessarily got to lead nothing. Just come out there and be you because you give game and you give a different perspective where people need it. You touch a different part of a person's spirit that needs to be touched, and I think that's a beautiful thing. So I think if you come on there and be able to give some like Nicole, I'm inviting Nicole back, Shamika back, Ebony back, Banana Wine gets better with time, CC. We inviting all y'all out here to come on here and speak with one another because for one thing, it's good to see Black women get out here and be not be looked at as angry Black women or looked at as they bitter or whatever the case gonna be, or like they only good for buying things. But when you get to see a Black woman in her element and in her space, when you get to see the doctors and the lawyers and the people who do your electricity and all the people that you better listen. Wait a minute, I ain't gonna even go there because I don't feel like start preaching. But I want to make sure I extend that out to you so that you come on. You know what I'm saying? And each one teach one, help us grow our platform, help you grow your platform, and make sure everybody gets some of your good game. And
the reason I said no in so-called Black, I like to say so-called Black because anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. We was talking about Black Jesus, white Jesus, so-called Black. That's a color that people use as a label for a reason, but that's another conversation. But the reason I said no like that is not because obviously I would love for you to be on here every damn day. You know what I mean? That's not the reason I said, and not because it got to go through me. No, the reason I said no is because Sanaa is very, very, very busy and very, very difficult to get her to be able to find the time. She sent me her calendar. You know how I got her on here? She said, here's my calendar. You find the time. And she sent me her calendar and there was nothing but everything was X'd out. Here's my calendar. Here you go. She shared her calendar with me. So the reason I jokingly said no is because it's not like her calendar is just open to be, you know what I mean? So if we can find the time, to get Sanaa back on, it would be amazing to have her anytime that she's able to come. But she's definitely.
I would love to. I appreciate
yes.
you guys having this platform and having these honest, raw conversations and letting the conversation flow where it needs to be. And I think we've shared a lot, all of us, perspectives, things that people, can learn from and at the very least just think about. And like I said, they can take what resonates, what doesn't. They don't have to agree with everything we said, but at the very least, it can make you think, reflect, and maybe make better decisions. But no, this was enjoyable. This was fun. It was like a hangout. So I enjoyed it. But next time I'm gonna jump Parish though.
Hey, come on with it. Come on with it.
There we go. He's here.
Oh, there
Say
you go.
hi.
Oh man,
What's
what's up,
up,
little
man?
kitty cat? My son love cats.
Say
I
what's
ain't gonna say I can't stand them.
That's her baby. Now that's her
Hey,
baby.
man. Hey, listen, man.
Hey, you can say
Doctor,
that doesn't offend me.
No,
huh?
I know. I know. I'm just saying that's her
If
baby.
you don't like cats, you don't like. I don't like a
Oh.
Nah,
lot
you
of
know,
animals.
I ain't gonna say I don't like them. I ain't gonna get one. Cats is too
Yeah,
damn
that's fair.
sneaky for me.
Mhm.
Not
I
this
was
one.
sitting at
This one is like a
I was
dog.
at somebody's house one day and I didn't even know. I'm just sitting on the couch and I was practicing my breathing. Anyway, look, and when I'm sitting on the couch, I felt something brush across my neck. And I didn't know what the fuck that was. And there was a fucking cat walking across the couch. I didn't even hear this cat jump up on his couch, let alone hit me with the tail hella soft. I said,
They're
"What the
very
hey, you got
smooth.
these cats
They're
in here?"
very
She started
smooth.
laughing. Man, listen, I went in her
I mean,
room. I went by. I went.
Anyway, what she was trying to say.
It was hella cats in there.
no, I'm just saying, like, cats are smooth. It's like where the name comes from, smooth cat. They're very smooth. This one, he's not a smooth cat. You'll know when he's coming in. He's like more like a dog, like than anything, because he's very vocal and he like plays hide and seek, tag, and he's just very playful
Do
and
cats
very
snore?
effective.
Do they snore?
No,
Cause like I got a bulldog. He be.
some,
Yeah.
some. It depends on their breed, but rarely. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
heard
not
if you
just
don't.
so. Oh, go ahead.
What?
Casey.
I heard if you don't get a cat neutered, that they be going crazy.
Yeah, he's
I,
neutered.
I heard it's like torture. I heard it's like torture if you don't neuter a cat. That's what I
Well, it
heard. I
depends.
don't
If
know.
it's a female, she'll go in heat and she'll start screaming for like 2 weeks. And then the boys, if they're not neutered, they'll spray, which means they'll start to mark their territory. They'll start peeing all over the place.
Do your cat be talking? Cause I be hearing. You ever heard them cats be like meow?
He talks. He knows his name. He just left, and if I call him now, he'll come.
Cats be
Zaytun,
talking.
he's talkative. He won't shut up. He knows
He be
treat. He
talking.
knows outside. Yeah, Zaytun will be talking. Sometimes I tell him shut up, but
Hey, they be talking. I be
he
hearing them
just woke
on
up. But
Instagram.
he's like, but he be talking.
Yeah.
He knows his name. When I keep calling his name and he gets annoyed, he'll look back at me and like, what? And he'll say like, all right, what do you want?
I heard one cat be like, "What?" Hey, them cats be talking. Hey, my dog don't say nothing. He be snoring and farting. And that's it.
No, that's
And,
good.
and 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 he snuck in my room the other day. My dog is slick because he snuck in my room. He know he ain't supposed to be in my room. Went to the edge of the door and laid there, and I heard him snoring. And I was like, I'm gonna leave him alone. I ain't gonna even mess with
Zaytun.
him. And
They
then I
asked what's
heard,
your cat's name.
then I
Zaytun?
heard Zaytun, and then I
Yeah,
smelled
that means
something.
olive.
It means who?
Damn,
Means olive in Arabic.
Oh, there you go. Like your shirt and your plant.
it all go together. Greens.
all
Eat your
go
greens
together.
today, people. Eat your, that
Yes.
was a
All
sign
right.
to tell people to eat their
It's
greens,
10
man. And
p.m. for
lentil beans.
me. I need to go to bed.
No,
It's
that's
Yeah,
what I.
nighttime for me.
No, that's
thank you
what I
for
was.
coming on today.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That we got to let you go and let people know what time it is on your side of the globe.
It is 10 p.m.
Yeah, so we got to
Definitely
let her.
bad time.
We have kept her too long. Well over the time. We appreciate you coming on. Thank you for coming on. This has been another live episode of No Cap Live with our special guest Sanaa. I think you're going to
No,
be.
put some respect on her name. Dr. Sanaa. Dr. Jarman. Hello. Put some
Doctor.
respect on that. She worked for that PhD. Hello.
Dr. Sanaa, as I addressed it in her introduction. I just was speaking about my friend just now, my bad partner, Dr. Sanaa, with all due respect for everything that she has accomplished and everything that she brings to the table. We appreciate you coming on, spending some time with us. I know you carved out some special time to do that. So thank you. They'll probably want you back again. Send me your calendar.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's good to meet you, Casey, and it's good to
You too.
reconnect with you, Coach. And looking forward to more conversations. And yeah, I appreciate the vulnerability, the honesty, all the things, and just the rawness of the conversations. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being open to it.
All right, y'all. We will see y'all in the next one. Make sure you let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about or any guests you want us to bring back on. Y'all have a good one.
In a minute.
All right, y'all.
Bye.
Yep.